my guest today. Our community spotlight segment is officially on, and I have the one and the only Tiro Mthembu. Did I get that correctly?
Yep.
All right, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to have you there. You've been doing lots of community projects, and I said one day, I think when I met you, I think the first time was when On Q was having its open mic at Hampton Hub. Yeah, so I was like, okay, all right, this is nice. And I loved what you were doing there, space for the community. And you have continued to do that over the years. And I must say, it's a lot of work. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, it's a community effort. I'm privileged to live in a community that's very supportive of actions and holding space for Pan-African ideals.
Okay, let's get to know more about you. Let's get to know more about this, where this Pan-African idea is coming from. You are born and bred in Saskatchewan, right?
Yes, yeah. North Battleford born, but raised in southwest Saskatchewan in Treaty 4. Called Regina home for the last 15 years. But yeah, my father is a Pan-African, came over as a political refugee in 1984 from Soweto, and met my mother at U of S, a nice prairie gal that's a teacher.
Okay.
And so they settled in southwest Saskatchewan for a long time there, and he went and moved to Winnipeg. So in my early teens, I did it back and forth there. But I've always had this inspiration to be a part of the revolutionary Pan-African ideals. It's been, bred into on both sides of my family. We've always been taught to fight for social justice. So Pan-Africanism, the heroes of Patrice Lumumba and Dr. Nkrumah, these are heroes of mine, and I talk to my daughters and teach them about the legacy of the resistance work.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Now, just off topic, so your dad is South African. He came here and then he found I like the way he put it, a nice prairie girl.
Yes.
That should be like a love story. Did you find a nice prairie girl?
I did. I found the most amazing prairie gal. Here in Regina, and I've settled my roots here.
Oh, that's wonderful. And then you have two beautiful daughters.
Yes, yeah.
Teaching them the Pan-African ideals.
Oh, it's the dream.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. How is it like living here in Saskatchewan with your South African roots?
Yeah, well, definitely growing up in the corner of the province in the 90s and such, it was a different landscape than what I live in and now in the heritage community, where me and my brothers were the only kids of mixed Black heritage or of any Black heritage on the prairies. Back in those days, people would look at you like you were a zoo animal. We experienced a lot of isolation that was very difficult, but that's unique in the prairie Black experience. Whereas I feel like in the States, you have a little bit more of communal vibes. We gravitated towards a lot of my mom did a great job of trying to get us out to every event that was curating for Black space and Black culture to be had. But yeah, it was a challenging time to grow up in the 90s in the prairies, very isolated from other Black communities that you had to watch from afar.
Yeah.
I talked to my dad now, he's back in Soweto, and me and my daughter can Zoom and chat, which was something I wish I had during my childhood, no doubt.
So did you, at any time growing up, were you able to connect with your father's side, who is South Africa?
Yeah, we would have phone chats with my Aunt Cynthia and such. And it was definitely my father. And when I lived in Winnipeg, I had the opportunity that him and some other Pan-African gentlemen that all lived together in that neighborhood. So Friday night fights, watching Mike Tyson fights and listening to the gentlemen tell old stories of coming here, and also their challenges of integrating into a Canadian landscape that Black community still struggles to find their footing.
You said something quite, looking at, I like to put the past and the present together. And you said compared to the States, it was different, like growing up in the prairies was quite isolated. It seems like it's the opposite right now. With what's going on in the United States with Donald Trump. It seems like, I know that there was a Black Lives Matter, and then there was a whole lot of people talking about, Black Lives Matter and all of that. But you talk about was it 90s or 50s?
Sorry,
when you grew up, in the 90s. I was like, God, I'm not that old. Growing up in the 90s, I'm like, so what has changed? Why do you think there's a change now? Or do you think that it's still isolating here in the prairies?
I think it's unique, right? I think that there's visually, we definitely have a lot more black representation. But me and my father were talking about it, and at that time, a lot of people were coming into the prairies as political refugees and part of the decolonization efforts, and that they came here and found refuge and raised their families. I think now you find that we have a lot more economic migrants, climate migration taking place. So we find a difference in the diaspora and in the culture that takes place, where we have folks that, as one of my uncles would say, people in the African community here will keep their head down and count their money and say, this is a lot more than the Ghanaian shillings that's making home.
Yeah.
And that's a different attitude than towards like leaders like Ted Gilletta in our community that came here as a fierce Ethiopian freedom fighter and then has paved way for community and leadership that I hold close to my heart in the community. So I think that we've taken some steps forward in representation, and there's definitely positives and stuff but I do think that's come with the challenges of having a newer black community that doesn't necessarily have the resistance or feel comfortable to showcase maybe their values on their chest as proudly. And I think maybe that's what Juneteenth and some of those opportunities come forward for us to show our true, our vibrant cultural expression.
And you relate with the black community here also, so it seems like you're following the whole resistance from your father. How has it been like relating with the black community?
Yeah, great and challenging, no doubt, right? Yeah, I think that it's like any struggle within communities when we're talking about neocolonialism and when we're talking about scarcity amongst minority groups.
Yeah.
It puts pressure on us, and so I think that conflict comes through in more of but through that pressure and conflict, I think we have meaningful relationships we pursue forward, and that's kind of the Pan-African ideal, that we can decolonize together through this class struggle, which is a beautiful thing to do.
At what point did you start your community advocacy?
I came from both sides of my family. So my dad's a political, a refugee that came here, and then on my mom's side, she is, a fierce advocate in her own right, continues to do work, and her older brothers and her father. So I was always raised in, resistance theory. But for me, it was a changing. I was working in the brewery in my community during the Colton Boushie verdict came forward, and Jared Stanley, and being from the prairies, I think also I should reflect that my dad made it very clear when we were kids that although we will face racism, we have to understand what's transpired here on the prairies to the indigenous people is unparalleled. It's shocking to even a survivor of the apartheid in South Africa, as we reflected. So I think that it's always been a challenge, but as we move forward, I think that there's always opportunities within that class struggle for us to gain solidarity.
Okay, part of your community advocacy, apart from relating with the African community here, I also see that you are also an advocate for Regina's unhoused and vulnerable communities. You do work with Good Trouble Network YQR. So is that you, or is that?
Oh, no, I don't work. I work with the Hampton Project.
With the Hampton Project,
no,
okay. Okay, so you work with Hampton Project there. So Hampton Project, what's that about?
Yeah, so we drew strength. We were a restaurant originally, and then we forged forward as a community-based organization committed to dismantling settler colonialism and replacing it with a solidarity economy by the people, for the people. So our community work is deeply trenched from the Black Panther Party and the legacy of Fred Hampton, who visited Regina in 1969, 3 weeks prior to his assassination. And so we draw strength from his commitment to establishing a rainbow coalition, bringing working class people across different ethnic and religious backgrounds and pursuing forward. And so that's something that we're dedicated to trying to continue that work across Treaty 4.
Yeah, because I see you do lots of things, and you talk about housing for people. It seems like you're very passionate about that.
Housing, yeah. My mentor, my Uncle Barrett, German in Toronto, Definitely housing advocacy is very close to our hearts. But I think, housing intersects with all of our other class struggles that we're facing. So housing for all, I think that if we have a stabilized housing, that'll make a more inclusive, equitable communities. And that's the kind of work that we're trying to do within our community. And then also, drawing inspiration from that kind of work that's taking place globally.
Yeah, and food also, right?
Oh yeah, everybody, good food goes a long way.
Why food? Because it seems like you bring people together with food. I see you do that a lot.
Yeah, again, gotta give credit to my parents for that. That's they're all cooks, and that's something that's whether we're eating or whether we're cooking, we're talking politics or watching sports, and that kind of blend of family time and community has just kind of vastly grown as our commitment to community work. It's just we try to do these things and inspire. We are continuously inspired by our community, so to give back and do fun events collectively is just fun.
Okay. Aside the Juneteenth, which is going to happen June 19th, what other projects are you working on now?
Yeah, I would like to say that on June 18th, the Halal Fest is just down the street, so that I encourage everyone to attend Thursday Halal Fest, which is down the street off of Winnipeg, and 12th, I believe. And Juneteenth, we are working on doing some further housing advocacy towards rental rip-off hearings, establishing open forums for renters to come forward and let us know and let the public know what they're facing, so that way we can start to establish further tenant union advocacy. How can we start support our neighbors? How can we consistently be there for each other when the state and social housing is being eroded? We need to all pour in together and build a community together.
That's a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have some upcoming events that you can check out online throughout the summer based upon housing advocacy and some environmental stuff as well.
And people can support you. You could just go to your Instagram page, or how can they reach you?
Yeah, you can reach out to us on the Hampton Project on Instagram, and as well as the Thompson Food Collective will be doing a free breakfast. Every Saturday, we're calling it Super Saturdays. So every Saturday throughout the summer with the Thompson Food Collective, we'll be doing free food and land-based learning in Maple Leaf Park, where the Juneteenth cookout's taking place. So that's another opportunity for community to get in, have a good time, and take part in some community building. Okay,
I'm sure if you've been listening to this conversation, you've been hearing a lot about Juneteenth. And you're wondering, what exactly is it? I'm just hearing food. Okay, you get to know more about that in the second half of the show. For now, we're just going to take a breather. Don't go anywhere. I told him that I always give my guests something special. He said he doesn't necessarily speak any South African. I'm going to pardon you with that. But anyways, this one is a song that he requested for, because I do that for my guests every time. So enjoy this one. This is Hugh Masakela, and it says Graze on the Grass. And when we come back, we'll have our community discuss. We'll talk more about things that have been happening in our community, and of course, you get to know what exactly is Juneteenth and what you're supposed to expect June 19th. So keep the date June 19th, and of course June 18th. We'll be right back after this.